All right, we're moving right along. I'm just kind of taking my time doing this. Pretty simple deal. Did a clutch basket hub removal off the main shaft. Pretty simple deal. What I don't like about these clutches is we have like a special adjusting screw setting on here. And if you've had one of these, when we do reassembly, I'll describe it. But we've got it removed. I've got these broke loose. They're both standard direction nuts, which is kind of nice. I've had to be careful on some before, where on different types of engines, where one might be reverse. So you have reverse threads on one, whatever. But they're not. So we have that in place. We've got this disassembly moving right along. I have the piston removed, and we have a little bit of side to side on our crankshaft, on our rod bearing, but we don't have any play up and down. I'm not making any sound. Moving on to the other side. Oh, well, we'll go ahead and take a quick look at our piston a little closer. I've got the circlips on top here, and I think, as I alluded to before, we had a little bit of scoring on the side. Oh, there we go. And a little bit more scoring on this side, and that would be, let's see, who cares what side it is? We're getting a brand new one in there. But I'm just going to set that down in the cylinder real quick, just hanging out, working like a plug, picking up my circlips. By the way, it's been 100 degrees today, and we had a tree come down just under its own weight, and so I'm a little bit exhausted by heat. Over here, we had our flywheel, which is setting right over here on my little template. That I have my stator cover setting on along with the outline of everything. Made sure and removed the flywheel with a 17 millimeter, the flywheel nut. And then I have a, let's see, let's take a look here. A 33 millimeter by 1.5 thread. And it went on there just beautifully. I gave it a couple bumps with the impact. It fits over here on my impact. You know, I just got it snug. And, you know, some people hit it with a hammer. But I didn't want to mushroom this. So I just was real gentle with it. So we got to remove our cam chain. Pretty simple deal. Got to remove that. And to do that, we've got to remove. I'm just going to remove both of these cam chain guides from here. And we're getting right on the way. We're getting in the time where it's almost time to remove our shifting mechanism. I'm going to try to do a little bit of manipulation here. Just to kind of bear with my poor camera work. Let me see. I'm going to have to just balance you this way, and you're going to see what you're going to see. I'm using my stand here, and I'm rotating it up. All right. So, here we go. So I'm going to be removing this shifting mechanism, and you know, I've got to study this a little bit. And this shifting mechanism, I've not dealt with a 6-speed before, so I'm going to do a little bit of research. Noting here, we have our oil pump drivers, and there's an O-ring here that interacts with the clutch side case cover. And of course, I've got to back these off and remove our balancing shaft. I'll be doing that on the next video, and removing this stuff, these drive gears from the crankshaft. And then we're going to get into removing our shifting components, like I said, from the shift drum, and I'm gonna look into what all I do have to remove. I think these can stay in place because that's just kind of an idler, and then here is our oil pump, which they can stay in place as far as I understand. So next up's going to be doing our case split. So that's kind of exciting. Again, I'm just got a certain organization about it in my living room here. Look at how crusty. Now focus for me. Look at how crusty the spark plug was. And that is a CR9EK. But we're moving right along. Everything's in place. Got my little template so I get the right length of bolts. And I know I don't really need to do that, but I'm going to, just so I can map everything out. And I'm going to I can even do it right now if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to remove these and set them in their appropriate place over there. That way everything's going to stay nice and organized. Take a note here. Let's see. We've got our starter clutch components here and bearings in place. I'm sitting, and I always like to take advantage of the magnetism of the flywheel here, and you'll see that I've put on our flywheel our keyway, and I have our nut and washer for our flywheel in place. So I think this build is going to move right along, as long as I can get these cases split how I want to. And normally I like to split from the clutch side, but on this build particularly, or this rebuild, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to split, if I can, if it lets me, from the stator side. Why am I going to do that? There's some burring that I'm concerned about on our counter shaft. Forgive me for my counter shaft camera work, but we're just going to get, I'm anticipating a potential for some problems here. So I'm going to split it from the counter shaft sprocket side, our stator side, and take in mind, I'm not going to remove this crankshaft. I'm going to leave the cases for the most part intact, and just the clutch side, and I'm mainly going to be paying attention to getting this freed so that we can take all the components and move them on to this counter shaft. So we can put all those components on this freshie. Yeah, that's going to set right here. That's going to be setting right here. So I'm going to have to make sure and get that disassembled, and it's going to move right along, I think. We even got a new counter shaft nut. Look at that. That's pretty nice. It's a stupid design, though. But anyway, that's going to do it for, what is this? Our next part in this disassembly. And then we'll see you for the next one. Sorry for the rambling, and I want to thank you for watching.